In the heart of the sprawling city, a creeping terror began to unravel. It started innocently enough, an outbreak of an unusual virus, one that affected the urban wilds with an intensity that defied logic. It was an unseen force that crept beneath the layers of reality, spreading like a quiet whisper through the slums and alleyways. But the true nightmare came when it found its way to the local feline population. A stray cat, thin and bedraggled, had been the first to show signs of the transformation. It wandered the streets with a strange, sickly gleam in its eyes, its once soft fur now matted and clinging to its emaciated frame. At first, people dismissed it as an unwell animal, but soon, those who encountered it were never seen again. The cat's mutation was more than physical. It began to grow, its limbs twisting unnaturally, its once delicate paws transforming into monstrous claws. The virus coursed through its veins, corrupting its very being, turning it into something far darker, something no longer recognizable as a mere animal. It became a towering, grotesque monstrosity, its feline form now a hybrid of nightmare, complete with a long, dripping tail that lashed like a whip and fangs that dripped with venom. As it roamed the streets, the cat wreaked havoc. Buildings trembled under its massive weight as it clawed its way through the city, terrorizing citizens. The air filled with the sounds of screams, people running in all directions, but it was too late for most. The creature was a whirlwind of destruction, and no one could stop it. Cars were thrown like toys, and the streets became rivers of blood as the monster cat tore through everything in its path. Its once innocent, playful nature had been consumed by the virus, leaving behind only an insatiable hunger for destruction. It wasn't alone for long. Soon, more infected cats, their mutations varying in shape and size, joined in, turning the city into a battleground. In the midst of this chaos, there was a single figure who moved through the chaos with a purpose. Spider-Man, dressed in his iconic red and blue suit, Peter Parker had seen the world fall into darkness before, but never like this. The city had always been a battleground, but this was something new. Something unnatural. The virus had infected not just the cat, but every part of the city's foundation. The air itself felt thick, like something was wrong at a cellular level. But he couldn't allow the monsters to win. Spider-Man moved through the streets, his senses heightened as he swung from building to building. The mutated creatures were everywhere, but his focus remained on the massive, monstrous cat that was currently causing the most damage. It was a force of nature, but Peter was no stranger to forces of nature. With a flick of his wrist, he launched webbing at the creature, trying to ensnare it, but it was too fast, too unpredictable. It lashed out, its claws swiping through the air with terrifying precision. Spider-Man dodged, his agility allowing him to stay just out of reach, but the creature's growl echoed in the city, sending a ripple of fear through the hearts of all who heard it. As he fought, Spider-Man realized that this was no ordinary infection. The virus had made the cat smarter, more cunning, and it was adapting quickly to his movements. Every time he thought he had it cornered, it would slip away and strike from an unexpected angle. Peter had to change his strategy. He couldn't rely on brute force or his usual webbing tricks. He needed to outsmart the creature, to use its rage against it. "Hey, big guy," Spider-Man muttered, his voice laced with both amusement and determination as he swung around the beast, trying to get a better angle. "You know, you look much scarier when you're not trying to claw my face off." The cat hissed, its eyes burning with the rage of its viral infection, but Spider-Man wasn't about to back down. He needed to create a distraction. Grabbing a piece of debris from the shattered streets, he hurled it at the creature, causing it to turn its attention momentarily. That was enough. With a quick series of well-placed webs, Spider-Man ensnared the cat's massive claws, using its own fury against it. He webbed the creature to a nearby building, trapping it for a moment. But the webbing wouldn't hold long. The mutated cat's power was immense. Spider-Man quickly launched himself into the air, landing on the creature's back with a thud. It bucked violently, but Peter held on, his fingers digging into the creature's fur, feeling the heat radiating from its body. The virus was making it stronger, faster, more relentless, but Spider-Man had something it didn't: experience. "Let's finish this," Peter muttered to himself as he began injecting a chemical formula into the creature's bloodstream using a syringe he had hastily created. It was a virus antidote he'd been working on, a long shot at best. But it was all he had. The creature howled, thrashing, but slowly, its movements began to slow. Its monstrous form started to shrink, its claws retracting and its fur returning to its original state. The virus had been beaten back. Slowly, like a puppet whose strings had been cut, the creature slumped, returning to a more natural, albeit exhausted, state. Spider-Man took a step back, watching the mutated cat regain its senses. It let out a soft, sorrowful mew, the ferocity drained from its form. Peter knew it wasn't truly gone, but for now, it was no longer a threat. With a final glance at the city, a city scarred but still standing, Spider-Man slung a web and disappeared into the night, knowing that this battle had been won, for now. The virus, however, was still out there, and it was only a matter of time before it mutated again. But for now, the city was safe, and that was enough.